The documentary we're doing is called Side by Side. And it's a documentary about the science, art, and impact of digital cinema.
100 years of photochemical filmmaking right now has reached a kind of threshold tipping point.
In this conversation, in this kind of intersection of time, it's historic. We've kind of come to this place where, is it the end of film? Where are we today?
It's exciting because it's a reinvention of a new medium.
Hello, Keanu, how are you?
Hello, I'm well, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. A lot better now that I'm sitting here with you.
Oh my gosh.
I know, I'm full of compliments today.
Yes, you are.
I'm fishing for something, that's why.
Oh well, I feel better sitting with you as well.
Sweet. Well, all right, now that I have you sitting with me and without the hustle and bustle, we can get into a little more in depth of stuff that I'd like to talk to you about concerning Side by Side as well as a little bit of Man in Tight Sheet. But let's start off with Side by Side. What made you decide to bring this debate to the big screen, the debate between film and digital?
I was working on a film in 2010 called Henry's Crime, and I was in the post process where they do timing, coloring and timing, where they take the photochemical image, they digitize it, then they have the digital image, and then they have to turn it back into film to make film prints to exhibit. And I was there, and so they had a colorist who works digitally and a timer who works photochemically, and they were trying to match the photochemical and the digital image together while the cinematographer was on a 5D camera showing me images that he just shot on the camera for a commercial. And then the director was talking to me about working digitally, and I sat there and I went, this is all going to change. 100 years of photochemical film is going to go away.
I'm always looking for whatever is new to help just push the art form even further, to be able to make the things that you couldn't envision the day before.
And I asked him, I said, we should document this transition in time, the end of cameras, the end of film. And so he had the idea to kind of follow the workflow of a film, you know, shooting, editing, and all of the post processes, visual effects, special effects. And so then we just started to go out into the world and try and talk to people who were involved in filmmaking, in digital filmmaking.
You've got huge names in this film, some that even surprised me when they came up on the screen, just to name a few. It's James Cameron, George Lucas, David Lynch, Martin Scorsese, the list goes on and on. Was this a wish list of yours, or did this process kind of happen organically where you just kind of ran into these people on film sets or at work and then talked to them?
We followed it through the digital image. You know, with the directors, we were going to the idea of who had worked in, you know, digital, early digital, with Lars von Trier, who had done a seminal digital film called Celebration, and then trying to talk to George Lucas, who was involved in one of the first high definition cameras and digital projection. So we started to follow the filmmakers, and Christopher Nolan was our kind of outreach and perspective on the photochemical perspective. And so that's how we went about who we tried to go speak with. Some people said yes.
Did a lot of people say no?
Not a lot, but a few.
Because they were shy?
Yeah, because they're shy.
Really?
Yeah. It's always a bummer when they say no.
Yeah, tell me about it. It is.
It's the press.
Well, speaking of that, is this your first experience being an interviewer?
No, actually, when I was a kid, one of my first jobs was a host of a talk show in Toronto, Canada.
What were you hosting?
It was called Going Great. And I would go out into the field, and they would send me to meet, young athletes or people with like teddy bear collections, kind of, crazy, youthful, and I would go interview them. So I had a little interviewing past.
Do you enjoy being on this side of the chairs?
I really enjoy. it's great to speak with people who are interested in talking about the subject that you're there to speak about. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, getting the chance to meet with such great artists and you know who were thankfully open to the idea of speaking about the subject. Mm-hmm. You know, it was a great joy for me. Mm. Yeah, it was great.
Christian,
a little pressure.
Just a little?
You know, like what are you gonna ask George Lucas? David Fincher?
Were you worried you were gonna ask a dumb question and they're just gonna blank you?
Please. Oh, I'm so afraid of getting blanked. You know, it's like, you know, just that thing or not talking. Chirp, chirp. Yes.
Did you encounter that in any of your interviews?
No.
Lucky.
I was lucky. Mm-hmm. I was lucky.
Yeah, I have some horror stories, which I won't bore you guys with right now. No.
We're off.
Yeah, I'll bore you with it later. When you're doing it digitally and you can watch the playback, that everyone's looking at their hair.
Oh yes, that's.
That is the best line, because I'm guilty myself of that when I'm doing, whenever I don't look at anything else but the hair. Do you agree with that? Do you do that?
Yeah, I've done some hair checking.
But do you think that what it is do you think that it makes people even more self-conscious about the physicalities of their performance or you know, just the outside of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you, yes. I mean, I think you can, if it depends on how you handle it. You know, it can make you self-conscious. I mean, when you're filming and when you're working, you should be conscious of your hair. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's part of your job. You know, but I think for the actor, you kind of want the director or whoever, the hair and makeup, to take care of that. But you know, you do want to check. I guess the bottom line is if it makes you self-conscious, if it gets in the way of the work, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Which is, I guess, what he was getting at when he was saying that.
He's just, no, I'm sure it was just about the hair.
I laughed so hard during that. I was like, that's me. So, I mean, you interviewed some really big personalities. Any really unforgettable interviews or moments or things that were said or done?
One moment that for me during the interview was I was really surprised that David Lynch said that he was finished with film.
Mm-hmm. I was too.
Because his films, you know, Elephant Man, black and white, the images in his films were so rich and so beautiful, and for him to say. But then as I got to continue the conversation and look at what he's done since, his images are still iconic. Mm-hmm. And provocative. They're just beautiful in a different way, and just that immediacy that he felt he could get with the digital camera made sense to me for what he wanted to do. But I was surprised when he said, "I think I am done with film."
What is your stance on the debate?
You know, it's becoming less and less of a debate. Well, we felt like we wanted to document the idea or the hope was, where did we come from? Where are we now and where are we going? So I feel like the documentary has a kind of timelessness to it, but we are further along in where are we going. The transition to digital camera now, which is the last piece, the eyepiece, the capturing the image, they call it capturing the image. Image acquisition is now at a technical level that's close, if not better than film. Mm-hmm. But 2 years ago, that wasn't the case. And now it's getting technically there. But it has its own unique look. The sad part is just that the idea of what photochemical existing is going away, the manufacturing, the processing, the need for film prints is going to go away, and that will be its demise.
I mean, you do mention, or someone in the film mentions about how as an actor, I think it was Robert Downey Jr. saying that it's exhausting to do it digitally because he was saying that he doesn't get a chance to go back to his trailer and get his shit together is actually what he said.
Yeah, he doesn't have to stop.
So you have to keep going. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on the discipline of the set. I mean, you can, with a digital camera, go longer than the 10 minutes that photochemical has. And so if the director doesn't want to say cut, then you're not cutting. You know, and you just keep going and doing it again and again, and that can become difficult.
Exhausting, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Same cut.
But then as a director, I'm sure logistically, digital actually makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm working on a film now, and just the pace of the hands-on or the experience of seeing what you're creating is so much more immediate than it ever has been. You know, you said video playback. Well, now you're seeing what you captured almost with the look and in the resolution that you will exhibit it in, and your editor can already be cutting and at a different pace. That it's going to get faster and faster in terms of the process. And as a director, you can be working with your content much quicker than you could in the past.
Do you think, had you done your directorial debut in the States, your experience would have been completely different working with an American crew than being out here in Asia?
Well, every film set has its uniqueness, with the characters, and but filmmaking's filmmaking. There's still a little Hong Kong style.
The speed of it, right?
Yeah, the speed and it's a good. When I say that, it's also very flexible. Everyone was we had a really great crew, and everyone was really hardworking, and you have to shoot on the street sometimes. When you hit the street, you gotta move fast.
Rambo style, they call it.
Yeah, Rambo style.
To go back to your hosting of Side by Side, technically, was it always your idea to be the interviewer / kind of host, or was it because of budgetary or other extraneous reasons you ended up doing it?
We couldn't afford you.
Why, thank you.
We just didn't know how I would be involved as the interviewer. And so I wanted to be part of the conversation, but also separate from the conversation. So in the documentary, you often see me with like paper and pens and by the side of the camera and trying to be a part of it, but also the separate from it.
Would you do this again?
Yeah.
And if you did it again, what would your next dream subject be?
I think it would still be in cinema. Kind of collect stories from different actors, the process of acting and filmmaking, and how it's changed over the years. Or, just get a personal story, have the film.
That'd be really cool, yeah.
Kind of by art and life kind of story.
Yeah.
Movies and performances that we love.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah. Life and art.
What is the future for Keanu Reeves? What is coming up immediately after and in the next year or so?
Well, currently we just wrapped principal photography on Tai Chi, so we'll go into post for about 6 to 7 months. Hopefully that'll come out early next year. Working on a film called 47 Ronin. Hopefully that'll come out sometime next year.
Are you going to bring Man of Tai Chi back to us to premiere it? Yes?
No, absolutely.
That's what we like to hear.
I really look forward to coming back and hopefully telling a story that people enjoy.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time. Once again, it has been an absolute pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you very much.